I just want to start this video with a quick moment of silence. What's up, YouTube? It's your host, J Wave. We're back in the Wave Room once again. Today we're going to be talking about the Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. fight card. So, a lot of crazy shit went down in this card last night. There were some crazy viral moments. I just want to start out first. I just want to talk about the prelim fights because, I want to give everybody their shine and I want to talk about everything that went down. So, the first fight on the card was Jamaine Ortiz versus Sullivan Segua. So this was a great fight, very, very competitive up until the 7th round where Ortiz was able to get a TKO victory on Segua. This was a really good fight. Ortiz was undefeated coming into this one. He stayed undefeated even after the result. It was a very good fight. They both put in a lot of effort. They were, really going at it, throwing a lot of punches, a lot of action. You could just tell that Ortiz definitely had an edge when it came to the strength and his accuracy, especially with the body hooks that he was landing on Segua, which ultimately decided the fight in the end when he basically crumbled him with that final body hook. He was just kind of like throwing a flurry into his liver and really just kind of knocked him out in the end. Great fight, awesome. Shout out to Jamaine Ortiz. He remains undefeated. I'm looking forward to where he's going to go in the future. He seems like a very talented young fighter, and I'm sure that he's going to have a great future lying ahead of him. Second fight on the card was Badou Jack versus Blake McKernan. This was a one-sided, very, very one-sided fight. Badou Jack was just putting in work the entire time, being extremely aggressive. He kept pressing McKernan the entire time, and there was just no competition here. McKernan, I think, just didn't do enough to really get any type of points from the judges. It did end up going to decision. He was just playing very defensive the entire time. He was just eating a lot of shots, and Badou Jack was just going off. He was just pressing, throwing hard hooks, and just really wore him down throughout the fight, and that's what led to his decision victory. So shout out to him also. So now we're gonna talk about the juicy stuff. We're gonna talk about the crazy shit that went down last night. Now, Jake Paul versus Nate Robinson. I don't even know where to start on this fight. Going into it, me and everyone else that I was with watching the fight, we were all voting for Nate. We all wanted to see Nate come out with the dub. I'm not the biggest Jake Paul fan, I'm not gonna lie to you. Nate, on the other hand, been a huge fan of him ever since he was in the NBA, winning dunk contests. He was just like a really cool guy. I love to see also like just the fact that he's like 5'9" in the NBA, jumping over people like Dwight Howard. I mean, he's just like an insane athlete, crazy athleticism. You really don't see that type of stuff every day. And he's a really cool guy too. I like to watch his series House Guest, the one where he goes to people's houses. He does interviews and tours around their houses. Two of my favorite videos being the one with Rick Ross and the one with LeVar Ball. Both of those are crazy videos. Nate, he's a really good interviewer, really good host, and he's just a really cool guy. I fuck with Nate Robinson. But last night, my man's got slept. I cannot lie, I cannot sugarcoat this. It was embarrassing. Nate Robinson really took an L on this one. I hate to say it, but it was a really bad showing for him. I mean, this is a guy that has done basketball. He's also played football professionally. He's an amazing athlete. So him going into his first boxing match, I was kind of hoping that those skills would somewhat translate into the ring, but it just didn't look like that at all. I mean, he looked like he had never fought a day in his life. He was just running around with his head down, just throwing punches, not defending at all whatsoever. And Jake Paul, I gotta give props where props is due. Jake Paul did his thing. He stood back, timed his shots, and just looked for the openings that were very apparent for him in this fight. And it ultimately ended with Nate just getting flatlined. I mean, it happened like, 3 or 4 times before the actual knockout that he just like, I remember the first punch that Jake connected, it was just like, Nate hit the floor. As soon as that happened, I was like, oh man, this is where this is going. And then, after the next one, hit the floor again, comes back, kept grappling, kept trying to get into the clinch, just trying to hold on for dear life. And then finally, Jake hit him with that beautiful hook and just right on the jaw, put him to sleep. They had to call in the paramedics and everything. It was just a mess, man. But Jake Paul, he did his thing. He did a good job. He did what he wanted to do. You go into a boxing match expecting a win, and especially a flashy win like that. I mean, this has got to do a lot of things for his boxing career. I think that he's definitely proven himself, even though he's only had 2 fights, he is undefeated technically, but he's definitely proved that he has like some skill there. He's not like your average dude. He definitely has like an advanced skill set when it comes to boxing at this point. And I don't know how he would fare against the actual professional boxer. Well, that's yet to be seen. We'll see if he, goes. I know he called out McGregor and a couple other guys. I mean, I think he's crazy for that. I think that's definitely a lot of the hype getting to his head. But, he did a good job. And Nate, my prayers are with you, bro. I hope that you, get past this L. I know that this meme is going to live in infamy for a very long time. But we all get past it at some point. I know he's going to keep doing his thing. He's going to keep doing his YouTube. He's going to keep doing his house guests, his channels, all that. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, we all still respect Nate Robinson. We all still love Nate Robinson. Like, even though that happened, whatever, we'll move past it. And I'm not going to hold it against him. He had some balls going into the ring in the first place, as anyone would know. I mean, it's a scary thing to jump into a professional boxing ring and to fight, especially right before Mike Tyson, which we're about to get to. But Nate, you know what I'm saying? Like, he did what he had to do. He went in there, he said he was gonna do it, he did it. Maybe not the result that he wanted, but he went out there and he gave it his best, and shout outs to him. Now, we're gonna talk about the main event, Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. Now, going into this fight, man, I had no idea what to expect. Both of these guys well past their prime. I mean, both legends back in their heyday, Mike Tyson. We all know about Mike Tyson. Roy Jones Jr. as well, legendary fighter. He has tons of knockouts, tons of wins, been a champion. And both of these guys were just straight killers back in the day. And this was just a crazy, crazy event. I mean, as someone who's 20 years old, I could never say that I ever expected to see Mike Tyson fighting live during my lifetime. And it happened last night. Talking about the decision, I definitely think that the draw was kind of a nice way to just not really throw anybody under the bus. I think that Mike Tyson definitely won that fight. I think anyone that was watching feels the same way. Mike Tyson was looking super sharp, super focused. He was, moving extremely fast, hitting extremely hard, and he looked great. Mike Tyson looked like he was in his 30s or something, the way he was moving. Definitely too with the stamina. I mean, at the end of the fight, Mike Tyson looked like he still had like a couple more rounds in him. Roy Jones, dead. He was gasping for air. He could barely even hold on. Even in the post-fight interview, he was even like giving props to Mike Tyson, saying like, yo, like I was scared of those punches, like he knew that Mike definitely won that fight. They both handled it with a lot of class, went out there, respected each other, gave a great performance. And me as a fan, I'm very pleased with what I saw. Well worth the pay-per-view money, and it was an awesome fight. A couple more other things that I want to talk about regarding the last night's show, the musical performances. I thought that was a really good thing. I think it was a very well-crafted event. I think they definitely went all out in terms of the production, in terms of the enjoyability of it, Like, I think that Wiz Khalifa, one of my favorite artists, he had a great performance opening up the event. He performed some of his hits like Black and Yellow, We Them Boys. It was a really cool moment, especially for a Taylor Gang fan like myself. Wiz Khalifa, he doesn't really do much anymore, but when he does pop out, he always delivers. Also, French Montana and Sway Lee, they did a great job as well. Really liked their performance. Went out there, performed some hit songs that we wanted to see, Unforgettable being one of them. Love that song. Love both those artists. Did a great job. YG also did a really good performance. He performed some really good songs, got the crowd hyped up before, the fights went on. And shout out to YG. Snoop Dogg, probably my favorite performance of the night right before the main event. Snoop Dogg, like he went out there, he performed some of his hits, you know what I'm saying? He's a legend, he's, fucking character. Snoop Dogg, he's one of the GOATs, you know what I'm saying? And he went out there, performed some of his greatest songs, Gin and Juice. Love that song, love that song. He went out there, performed it, Drop It Like It's Hot, all them songs. And as the announcer, oh my God. Snoop Dogg had me rolling the entire time. He had some great quotes in those announcements. He was, kind of like poking fun at all the fighters, but in a way that was just like super entertaining. Snoop Dogg himself, like he just has that persona and that character that he's just always funny and shit. He definitely brought this whole thing to another level. Also, I thought it was really cool that they had Israel Adesanya also announcing in this fight. I know it was his first time ever doing an announcement before, and I think he did a really good job. Before they actually showed him on the camera, I was just listening to his voice, and I didn't even know it was him. He sounded super natural, super good inside that announcer role. And, I got to give props to Israel Adesanya also. He did a great job announcing for the first time. But yeah, as a recap, here in the weight room, super exciting card, super great event, This was more than just like a boxing fight, I think. This was a cultural event, not just because of the fights and the names involved and all of the hype that surrounded it. Like the way that they had the music, the stage design, the choices of fighters and everything. It was just a very well-crafted event. I believe that Mike Tyson was the one in charge of this event, so shout out to him. I know he's trying to start the Legends Only League. I think that he has definitely a bright future in this. Mike Tyson, he was the fighter back in the day, and now he could be the commissioner. So shout out to Mike Tyson. He's doing his thing. I bet you he made a ton of money off of this. Let's see where it goes in the future. I'll definitely buy the pay-per-view for the next Legend Only fight. So this is J Wave, your host, signing off, and yeah, very good card. Drop some likes below. Subscribe, comment, let me know what you would like to see me talk about next. And until the next time, peace.